Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union 2020 COVID-19 Money Webinar Series. Today's presentation, Financially Surviving COVID-19, is brought to you in partnership with Coffee. Coffee is a nationwide financial coaching and education center focused on improving the financial health of individuals. Today's presentation was brought about due to the pandemic that's taking place now, and Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union would like to bring you the financial education and the tools to help you to navigate this period. As the premier credit union of Prince George's County, we've joined with Coffee to expand our mission of providing quality financial education to our community and lending insight into credit management, home ownership, and money management. Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union is a full-service financial institution serving anyone who lives, works, worships in Prince George's County, Maryland. We're one of the county's best-kept secrets with competitive loan and savings rates, as well as discount to nationwide retailers. We currently serve over 17,000 members in the area and welcome you to come and experience the benefits of membership as well. Now, later on in this presentation, we're going to display our contact information and answer any specific questions you may have concerning your financial needs. It's not too late to invite your friends and colleagues to join today's webinar. You should have received an email about 30 minutes ago, and in that email, there's a link that you could pass along for them to register and join the call. Please know that today's webinar is live and all phone lines have been muted. If you have any questions, just please feel free to type it in the Q&A box that's located on the right-hand side of your menu bar. All questions are private and will be addressed at the end of our discussion. We're also offering a free 60-minute financial coaching session with the completion of this webinar, and more information will be located on the last slide of the presentation here today. Lastly, a recording of today's session will be available later on today, and details will be sent to your email following this presentation. And with that, we are going to turn the presentation over to our presenter, Doris Baker. Doris, can you hear? Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charmaine. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having us here this morning. As you can see from your screen, the slide that's on your screen, the purpose of Coffee. First of all, let's talk about the acronym, Knowledge of Financial Education. And that is what Coffee is here to provide as part of the partnership with Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. You can see from the slide there. So if we can move to the next slide, please. So here today we find ourselves talking about the effects of a pandemic. So we all know the death toll from this terrible pandemic, and we know how it's taken its toll on the economy. But on a very personal level, COVID-19 has devastated household budgets. Long after the pandemic is over, many Americans will still be recuperating financially. As we see on the next slide, so yes, this is a sad topic, but a few minutes from now, we hope you feel reassured and even optimistic about your future. Why? Because we're going to give you concrete, proven ways to get through this difficult time. So let's get started. We all know that the shutdown has affected the economy, but it could get a lot worse before it gets better. Even before COVID-19, nearly 8 in 10 American workers lived paycheck to paycheck, according to a survey by the jobs website Career Builder. Another poll by Bankrate is even scarier. 6 in 10 Americans don't have $1,000 to pay for emergencies. Finally, before this pandemic, the average credit card debt per household in this country was just over $16,000, according to Discover. As we move on, according to the St. Louis Fed, we could see a third of all American workers unemployed for at least a little while. And the consulting firm McKinsey & Company says it could take 3 full years before we see the same economic growth we were experiencing before all this started. So it's more important now than ever to start developing your financial immunity now. So let's start with credit unions, which offer some of the most helpful and most practical solutions to surviving the pandemic financially. We have yet to hear about a credit union that isn't helping their customers and members. The specifics vary by institution, but here are some examples. Suspended ATM surcharges, suspended foreclosure sales and vehicle repossessions, waiving fees for early CD withdrawals. These benefits are being tweaked and extended as credit unions assess the economic impact of the shutdown. So go to their websites and then make a call. Give them a call. Here on this slide, you see what is being offered by Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. On this slide, we'd like to highlight that there's a Visa balance transfer with an interest rate of 2.9% for 6 months. Another highlight is there's no transfer fee for this particular Visa card. Also, after the introductory period of 6 months, you could have a fixed rate as low as 8.9%, and of course that rate is dependent upon your credit. Let's talk about federal government relief. Everyone's heard about the stimulus checks, and you hopefully knew that tax day was moved from April 15th to July 15th. But there are more offerings than just those. Let's quickly mention them, then tell you where to go for more information. The IRS People First Initiative. In March, the IRS launched a coronavirus program called the People First Initiative. The program largely suspended all IRS collection activities, as well as payment obligations and defaults on existing tax debt payment agreements. Interest continued to accrue during this suspension period. It also delayed the filing deadline for 2019 income taxes to July 15th. But if you haven't filed for an extension, your tax returns are due. IRS payments on existing agreements. Although there was some talk of extending the program, People First officially ended on July 15th. However, the IRS says that they will work with taxpayers on a case-by-case basis moving forward. If you are currently enrolled in a tax debt payment or settlement plan and cannot make your payments, please contact the IRS by phone at the customer service number listed on your agreement. Just be prepared for long delays because the IRS admits that they have limited staff and are experiencing a high volume of calls right now. As we move on, collection actions including wage garnishments, liens, and levies have all restarted. And limited staffing issues won't stop the IRS from pursuing you because they contract with outside collectors now. You can explore options for payment plans and tax settlement at irs.gov. And if you simply can't afford to pay, the IRS has a status called currently not collectible. If you're experiencing hardship, this status will suspend collection actions, so you don't need to worry about your back taxes until your situation improves. Now, that's good news. As we move forward, with 43 million Americans paying off federal student loans, these breaks are big. We're not required to make payments again until at least October, and interest rates were cut to 0% as of mid-March. Currently, this is set to last through September, and for now, these protections only apply for federal loans. If you have private loans, you need to contact the loan servicer if you're having trouble making your payments. Congress and the White House may extend federal student loan relief and broaden it to apply to private loans, but that's still being debated in Congress. Federal mortgage relief. About 30 million Americans have mortgages backed up by the federal government. For those people, there are several key benefits. There is a forbearance plan that can freeze your mortgage payments for a year and get rid of late fees. You can also modify your loan so you pay less per month. And best of all, none of these will negatively affect your credit score. Federal housing agencies have also extended the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures until August 31st, meaning you can't lose your home before the end of August. Let's talk about federal mortgage relief. If you have a mortgage through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, which are two federally backed mortgage companies, you can call for more details. Like everything else we're talking about today, your options depend on your personal circumstances. And you'll see the numbers noted there on the screen. Let's talk about local government benefits. You probably know that unemployment benefits are run by your state. If you're out of work, we encourage you to check with your unemployment office. But don't forget that cities and counties offered benefits even before the shutdown, and you can still use them. In fact, the biggest problem during better times was that many Americans just didn't bother to look into them. We're talking about utilities that can cut your water or electric bill by half or more if you qualify as low income, which is common today. These government programs also extend to free home repairs and even meal deliveries. Check with your city or go to benefitscheckup.org. That's benefitscheckup.org. And of course, city and county governments are beefing up their existing programs to help during the shutdown. So it's worth a few minutes to look them up. Credit cards. We mentioned forbearance earlier when we were talking about mortgages, but they apply to credit cards too. Remember, forbearance is just a fancy way of saying temporary financial relief. The details vary with the card, but generally, these allow you to lower or even eliminate payments, waive late fees, and lower your interest rate. There's a downside, though. Like we mentioned with some IRS tax benefits, your overall debt doesn't go down, and you might still accrue interest on the unpaid balances that you'll need to pay off later. So you need to do the math and see if you really benefit from these forbearance programs. Budgeting matters now more than ever. Polls continually show that most Americans know that a household budget is important. They know it's hard to save money if you don't know exactly how you're spending it. But those same polls show most Americans still don't budget. Doing so is easier than ever since there are secure online tools to help you, ranging from mint.com to the websites of most credit unions. Now, while we're still sheltering at home, it's the perfect time to set a budget and see exactly where you stand. At this time, I'm going to tell you all thank you for allowing Coffee to come and provide you with financial education via this webinar. And I thank Ms. Charmaine, and I'm going to turn it over to her now because I'm at the end of our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doris. Thank you for that wonderful and great information you provided for us today. For everyone that's attending, I'd like to thank you for attending again, and just wanted to give you some more information about Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the products or the services or tools that we spoke about today, please give us a call at the contact information that's located on the website. And also, too, if you're interested in connecting with Doris and her team to sit in on possibly getting a 60-minute free financial coaching session, you can contact them at Coffee, and the number is located on the screen as well. Again, thank you so much for your time and all the great information that you provided us today. And a copy of this webinar will be located on the website later on today. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you all.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.